see this a lot of times, imagine you walk up to somebody and you tell them, a compliment or something. Some people absolutely have no vessels to receive it, and some people say thank you, What would you say, kids? Who is that person who can receive it? What kind of a person is that who can receive a compliment? Listen, I walk up to Rochel and say, listen, you're so beautiful. Twisting now, you say it to every girl, you don't mean it, and say, or should you say, Mama, she really thanks you, What?
She has a decent opinion of herself, and she can accept it, but if her own opinion of herself is low, then she can't accept it.
Yeah, that's one
that's strong. Very calm.
That's very strong, yeah, that's true. What else? And that's what
the person thinks, everything that's said.
That's for sure. When you just walk along, when I said to you, what I meant.
That's true.
P. What else? Let's hear some strong kids. Put some oil into your machines up there. Let's go.
Maybe the obligation.
Of course, is something very deep. That most people, this is really a little bit taken of nothing, that most people don't know what honor is. People always think that if someone gives me honor, nobody's bringing some great things. What? Hey, brother. People always think that if I give you a little bit cover, it has to be for something, right? People always think that if I tell you you're beautiful, you have to be beautiful. Maybe if I'm going to give you a little bit of honor, and I'm giving it to you while saying that you're giving you a little bit of honor. What is the whole idea of honor? There's the world only knows honor, which is like connected to power and so on. Which is not real covered, it's not soul covered, Right, the rich man gives me $100, you gotta say thank you. I want to share something very strong. The Gemara says, Rebbe Mechaber Dashir. Rebbe would give honor to rich people. The Gemara says, all the rich holy rabbis have, they sound like Rebbe, Rebbe Mechaber Dashir, who would give special cover to rich people. This is kind of like Rebbe, the holy of holies, and he honors rich people more than the poor, It's Reb Shlomo Carlebach is something very holy. You know what the world does? If a person gives you $100, you don't tell him, thank you, you're a rich man, you gave me $100. Suddenly I say, wow, what a good heart you have, what a scholar you are, what a tremendous person, you are one of the leaders of Judaism, Suddenly I stop honoring him for his money, I'm just telling, I make an idol out of him, Rebbe Mechaber Dashir, what Reb Shlomo said, you gave honor to a rich man. I know you're a rich man, I know God gave you a few rubles to spend it, so I'll give you honor for the money you have, But I don't make anything else out of it, It's very, very strong. Today they're living in a world, and someone gives you $100, suddenly he's already I don't know what, right? That's powerful. But anyway, if we would be in tune with holy honor which every little creature deserves. The holiness of being aware that there's something special about the person, this holy honor. You know what it is? Say something very deep. The difference between if someone gives you a little honor, which is just a power honor or just stupid honor, or someone gives you holy honor. If someone gives you holy honor, the mama shifts the soul. What does it mean? Give cover to somebody. I'm making you higher. So if someone walks up to you and gives you a little compliment, a little cover, at that moment, mama lifts up your soul and it's holy. If someone just says something like this, wow, it's good. you have to know one more thing. Please, Lord. If you're still on vacation, I hope. Please, Lord. I was praying for you to be sick all night long, so you didn't have to go to work. My mother joined me, you know.
Don't include me.
Oh yeah. Now listen to this. If someone gives you this holy covet which lifts you up, imagine it's not only lifting me up, but it lifts up the whole world, because I think there is such a thing in the world, right? There is such a thing as covet, it's lifting up all the creatures of the world. That means if I refuse it, God forbid, I'm cutting off something that's happening in the world. But if I receive it, why receive it? You know the famous story about Reb Zusha, it's a really good story to remember, because it's just like a valve. Reb Zusha was sitting on this little, post, how do you say? The mail, and from a good days there was the wagon would carry the mail, how do you say this? They had people, the mail would be sent to the what? Mail wagon. There was also had some people, passengers, how do you call it? Stagecoach, right? So that he was sitting on
In Europe there was a station?
All over Europe was like this, was horses, and they carried the mail and also people. So Reb Zusha, quite together, a few rubles he was sitting on a stagecoach, and the rich man was sitting there, like this. Suddenly he sees this little creeper like Reb Zusha also sitting there. So he made fun of him the whole time. Really, this poor man made fun of him the whole time. Reb Zusha didn't know. But then they passed through a city, and people knew Reb Zusha is coming. The whole city was there to greet Reb Zusha. Nobody came to greet the rich man. So the rich man asked the wife, what's going on here? They say, don't you know, it's Reb Zusha. How do you do? They woke up, Reb Zusha says, really, please forgive me, I didn't know you're the holy Reb Zusha, Mom is ashamed of myself, I'm so sorry. That's the feeling. Please forgive me. Reb Zusha says, I'm sorry, I cannot forgive you because you didn't tear me down, you put down all the poor people of the world. So you have to ask every poor man to forgive the vow. Just like a vow. So the thing is like this, and also in the same way when someone gives me honor as a person, it's not only me, he's mamish honoring all the people of the world. And if someone tears me down, besides tearing me down personally, also tears down all the creatures of the world.
Could you go back just 1 second? In the story of Rabbi Yehuda the Nasi, I really don't grasp what makes it better that he was Mechaber him. So why should he be Mechaber him just for his Ashir? Because God blessed him with Ashir?
No. Listen, whatever God gives you, someone should honor you for what you have, right? Someone gives you beauty, someone should tell you, Mama, you're beautiful, right? Someone has money, someone should say you, really honor you. Obviously, you have some little credit in heaven, God gave you money. But what we are doing is suddenly we don't tell him, I honor you for your money. I honor you for your good heart, for your foresight, for your being the most outstanding Jew in the world.
I understand that part, but still the part of being Mechaber for his Ashir is still...
No, I understand it very deep. Yeah, because Rebbe needed money for his things, right? Obviously. So first of all, Rebbe was one of the richest people in the world, but probably he needed more for other things, I want you to know that Rebbe said, before he died, before he took off, he lifted up his fingers, and he said, Mamish, he did take from this world even as much as one finger. And Mamish didn't take anything of this world. Living above this world his whole life. Wow. So, he didn't keep his money for himself as much as he did. But the Rebbe Mechaber the Nasi, you know what it is? I think something very deep. If you walk up to somebody and say to him, listen, you're a good man, do me a favor, Can you do me a favor? Then maybe do it for you, If you walk up to somebody and says, listen, you're a lousy creep, could you do me a favor? Hey, brother. Peace. Let's take it. I'm okay. I haven't seen Vicula in years, would you believe it?
I don't know this.
Holy Vicula. Okay, everyone, let's translate. Where are you going to Chomala? Okay, then. Listen to this, there's a very holy saying by the Kotzker Rebbe that says, you should take care, you should give me, you need a certain portion of whatever it is, of the wheat, of the money. That means take something off. And in the Hebrew, truma means to take something and give it for charity, give it to God, means to live down. So anyway, the holy Kotzker says, if you want to take me, take me in an uplifted way. Say in Yiddish, this nennt man Nivduzi. You don't think of God in the same way you think of apples, right? You don't think of God the same way you think of anything else. If this is the same thing, Listen, some people think like this. I tell you what someone said. Someone came to the Baal Shem Tov and the Baal Shem asked him, what do you think of God? How do you... This is like this. In former days, oxen would walk around, with horns. So he said like this, I'm afraid of the ox, very much. So then I imagine 100 oxen, how much I'm afraid of. Then I think of 1,000 oxen. And then I imagine the whole world would be filled with oxen. I'd be terribly afraid. And God is even bigger than that. How much I'm afraid of God, I mean, it's very sweet, but it's just never, it's taking God like an ox, right? You gotta take God on a high level. And the same thing when it comes to people, who are God's image in the world, you gotta take them on a different level. And if you take them on a different level, then the way you honor them is also different. So the thing is, if you take those people on a higher level, then the honor you give them on such a high level, if you lift up you lift them up, they can feel it, and you lift up the whole world. And I tell you something very, very deep. How can you know when someone gives you honor, if he lifts you up, or he drags you down? Very simple. If a person lifts you up, then after they lift you up, you're much more humble, more menschlich, more human, less arrogant, less like feeling you out. But after they give you a bit honor, you're so arrogant, and you look down at somebody else, then the honor you receive is not from a high level. Let's put it this, I'll walk up to Vicky and say, listen, you're beautiful, right? So if I tell her you're on a high level, then she look around, look at all the girls and think, oh, they're really beautiful girls here, right? Everybody's really beautiful. But if I make it on a low level, then she'll look at the woman and say, no wonder you told me I'm beautiful. You're the biggest country in the world, right? And you can't talk to her anymore after that. So the thing is like this. So he says that real holy honor is filled with holy humility. Holy honor is the Lord. Books.
This question came up. There's a young lady that's
Yeah.
It's a hard time with children and doing they do something wrong,
Yeah, this ox comes to God too, yeah.
So I told you I need to help you, but you told her, and show me the things you don't want to hurt you. Good for you, but it's because you learn a lot of another.
You mean explaining that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me ask you this one question. Not to compare God on an ox level is one thing, but when you machabed Adam, can you go higher than Adam in that level, or aren't you even, or you can't even do it in that level? In other words, oxtail was no good.
Even then I don't know. I guess obviously if you have a little bit sense for higher and higher, then you know everything in its place. No? You see, I tell you something like this: the person who knows his place also knows the place of everybody else. If you don't know your place, then you don't know anybody's place. I'm a little bit, imagine I know that this book, Gemara, I know is worth $4. I'm a little bit in tune, I know that the Sidral is maybe only $2 and the Talmud is $1, right? And the Shas can be more. Because if I only know one thing, the value, then I also automatically know the value of everything else. You know, if I know one pound of apples is 90 cents, then I can figure out 100 pounds is more, right? But if I'm completely blind, then nothing will ever happen. Now something very, very deep, you know, that you're always thinking of value in, you know, on a cost level, you know, what's the value of this? You even think the value of people depends on what they do, you know, what they don't do, what they can do. I just began, in fact, I was thinking of it, but I don't know the last time, I was thinking, I don't know the last time, but I was learning lately the sector everything. Everything is in the sector of values. What's the value of it? You know, if I say I want to give the value of patience to the family, I want to make the God as much as possible. How can you measure this? Absolutely. So there's very strong that a human being has no money value. You cannot say I want to do as much as it worth. But then the Torah says just anything. Right? At a certain age it was 30 shekels, 50 shekels. The Gemara says, what about the mukashkin? Someone who's like completely not sick. What do you say mukashkin?
He's broken and he has a skin disease.
What's God really terrible the skin disease? Those moments like that, so it's falling apart. So, and I'll say, I want to give to God the value of this person. If I ask, you know, the world, he has absolutely no value to the world, right? But by God it's the same thing, you know. It's unbelievable. I take a mukashkin, right, this person, then I say I want to give his value and the value of Moshe Rabbeinu. Both the same, right? Both the same. Because even the 50 rubles are not the value, it's just because you give them. That's what it is. But it's very deep. The Gemara says, you know, I wish we could learn, but you know, you have to know the value, you know, the value of people. Kovet, whom do you honor? You honor something is valuable, it's precious. So this is like this. If you have the holiness of values, the holiness of Kovet, then you lift up the whole world. But now listen to this. Very, very deep. What happens to you if, God forbid, if your whole concept of covet, of honor is completely misplaced? Then you end up becoming an idol worship, or the beginning and the end of idol worship. Because how does idol worship begin? Because I need the sun, right? The sun is giving a lot of warmth and makes the things grow. So I'm giving a little bit covet to the sun, right? Worship the sun. Someone gives me $1, I'll worship him, right? He gives me something. You see, I can give honor because for that person, for the value, for the holiness. I can because what I get out of it. The moment I'm honoring people because what I get out of this is the beginning of idol worship. It's on the level of idol worship. That's what the word says, right? Someone gives you $1, you bow down a little bit. Someone gives you $1 million, you crawl on all four, right? And someone gives you more, and you kill yourself with it. It's idol worship.
Thin line,
Well, very thin.
Because if you have one Rebbe, you know, you give him all the honor in the world because you're receiving directly from him. And another Rebbe, you honor him because he's the holy man, but it's not the same.
Yeah, but this is, you see, this is not if I honor a great Rebbe, it's not so much because what I get out of it, it's only because I got so much out of him that I realize how holy he is, you know? But it's not I'm honoring him because what I squeeze out of it, right? It is, but even knowledge is a very holy thing, you know. But it's not what I'm. Let's say if I see the holy Baal Shem and I honor him, it's because because I'm a Jew of the holy Baal Shem, because the holy Baal Shem is such a holy too, you know. How can I stop honoring him, you know? Although my way of knowing that the holy Baal Shem is so holy because it's from a huge tradition, right? It was only my way of finding out about him, right? But this is a very thin line, obviously, because the world, remember we're always learning that the world is still on the level of idol worship. The world also stopped worshipping idols. Before they were very low, they were worshipping wood, and now they're worshipping something else, you know? But they're still complete idol worship. But now it says something very beautiful. The Gemara says, Godel kovet habriya shedoichas lois mishpotah. Because it says like this, that honor of people, the honor of people is mamish like pushing off all the laws of the Torah. Let's say for instance, I don't even know, at this moment a good example. What? Yeah, that's a good thing, yeah. Because if I'm davening and someone comes in and says hello to me, yeah, it's a very good person, very good motor, yeah. And if I won't say hello back to him, I'll hurt his feelings. So that's much, I shouldn't drop my prayer, but if I'll hurt someone's feelings. That means actually like, this is beyond everything, you know. People's feelings like this holy college, you know. Yeah?
Is this what you're talking about, is valuations of people?
Yeah, it's tough.
We were trying to figure out what that was all about in that pressure from that person.
Yeah?
We didn't understand.
No?
Remember? We talked about valuations and...
Yeah, so what do you want to ask me now?
What do you mean? Does it relate to what you just said before about
that's the whole thing, you know. Someone says, I want to give the value of this person to God. The person has no value. If this mom Torah says, this is what it is, you know.
How do they determine the difference?
The Torah says so. And even then it's way out, you know. Because I tell you what, if you read just this little thing, if you don't know the whole Masechta Erechim, you know, just begin learning it again. I've learned for a long time. It's just so deep and just cutting right through the whole world, you know. Because imagine if someone says, I want to give the value of somebody's hand, you know, not the whole, just the hand. A very big machlokes. Because others say, you know, a hand. So they say you have to walk on the street and ask, how much would you give for your hand, you know? But again, how can you pay for a hand, you know? But it's a very big thing, you know? I think kids, if you want to, maybe tomorrow, the day after, to learn a little bit interest on the stuff. No, first of all, Shinta, you have to pay for the food, right? So that's very strong. You know, the Gemara says that actually, you know, if God forbid somebody hit somebody, you know, an accident, and he has to pay for it to pay. How much do you pay? So the Gemara says you have to pay if he would be a slave. Imagine he can't work anymore. How much does he value it? But even that, the Gemara says it's a very hard thing because, like the Gemara is hesitating, because they know we're finding out. You see, according to the Rambam, it is very, very deep. The big machlokes in the Rambam Rai. According to the Rambam, you know, that's the common market, right? According to the Rambam, after the Torah said that if I say, let's say, the value of Pesach, the Torah says anybody who's between 20 and 60, it's 50 pieces of gold, then according to the Rambam, this mamash becomes its value. It's real. Imagine if suddenly the whole world would buy Coca-Cola for $100, then this is mamash the value. According to the Rambam, the Torah says it's 50. It becomes so real that it really is so. This mamash the value. According to the Ravid, that means I could make up this, but the Torah says it's real. According to the Ravid, because a human being cannot be evaluated even after the Torah says it's not good value. It's just the Torah says because you got to give something, you got to give this, you know. What that means, the giving has actually nothing to do with this value. It means according to my money that I'm really paying this value. According to Ravid, I never pay the value, or just I have to give this much. You know? I mean, it's very far-reaching, you know. It's like a vow, you know. The Ravid, the Holy Ravid. Yeah. Sure, the Ravid lived at the same time as the Rambam. I'm sorry, the Ravid was blind, one of the holy blind masters, and people were sitting in front of him in the meeting. And you know that he was so holy that he wouldn't accept that people unless they could see one corner of the world to the other. I mean, he was blind officially, but Mamish himself from one corner of the world to the other. You know the famous story, you know the holy Belzer, or holy Belzer. No. The story is the Holy Chutzker, and the Holy Chutzker was blind. So one Rebbe wrote to him that if he wants to pray for him, and he didn't beg his eyesight. So the Chutzker left. So what does he think? He said, whatever I have to see, you think I don't see now? What I have to see is you. Now listen to this, it's the reality. The Chutzker said that he made a deal with God. That once a day he has to give him his eyesight back because by Titzah it says that he has to see the Titzah. The Mamish says when he says Tishma, you take his Titzah and you look at him, it's just for those 2 minutes that he can take his eyesight out. Because otherwise he thinks he couldn't get it. No, but now he wanted to. I understand, you're right, he could have, but he didn't want to. Yeah, but mostly in tough form, brother. Okay, he says like this. In fact, Naaman said it a little bit already. He says, how much do you have to sift through and throw out dust and polish this idea of the honor of heaven until it's really shining in all its purity? And it says, whatever the world is how do you say suffering so much, all the sufferings of the world is because the world hasn't learned how to give this holy honor to it. Because let's put it in, see, since the world is still idol worshipping, so they don't know the holy honor. So since they don't know holy honor, so they don't know how to honor each other. So if the world would only learn that, it'd be okay. There are two ways of giving honor to something, you know. Right now, Bobby says that you give holy honor to somebody, you lift up that person. But what happens to you? It's also very good. The moment if you give somebody honor, that means actually you make yourself low, right? But this is only if you give the low kind of honor. But if you give the high kind of honor, it becomes strong. Unbelievable. It is like this. The world has not learned yet how to give honor to God. The way they give honor to God is, they think it's by cutting themselves short. That means if God wants to honor him, means he cuts me short. God is more powerful because everything within his power, right? I give God honor because he's more powerful. So the moment I agree he's more powerful, means I'm less powerful, and suddenly when I think of God, I think like a loud speaker, right? So there's no power. Are you using the same tape all the time, or you put new stuff?
Yes, Are you saying the same thing?
I get more and more here, brother. I tell you, I had this comedian in Israel. So he said that he walked out, you know, he's giving a show, he walks out, and he said, and the woman says to him, you know, I saw your show 10 years ago, and you told 10 jokes. So, he didn't say anything. He has coffee with her, talks to her, asked her, how old are you? He said 30, he said 10 years ago you said the same thing, you know. Yeah. Okay, now listen to this, very, very strong. Where does this come from that the person is looking so much somebody else, you know, to bow down to? There's a tremendous urge that I have, you know, the hero worship. There's a tremendous urge that there has to be someone who's big and strong, right? Someone who's running the world and someone who's taking care of everything. Where is it coming from? Because I feel so incomplete, feeling soulless, that mamish, you see, my relationship to God is because I'm so little, I'm so nothing. So I'm saying to God, you better be strong, right? Like like a full machine. The joke, you know, it's a soup. You know, he says the two little girls said to God, he says, you know, my mother's sick, my father's sick, my grandmother's sick. He says, God, you better stay well. But if you also get sick, you know, you'll really be in the soup. But you know, okay, I'm saying to God, listen, you better stay strong because I'm so weak. But now there's something very, very strong. Let me ask you here something very strong. Imagine if I have $1 million in my pocket, right? Someone says to me, you're a lousy beggar. You just have a dime and you... Does it hurt me? How come I'm so hurt when people tell me so? Because it's like never true, right?
Oh, I believe that it's true.
I believe it's true. The saddest thing is, if I'm inside, mamish, I'm not so strong, right? So then I'm afraid people will find out. So I've got to cover it up. So the moment I cover it up, you see, you have to realize one thing. That every person, you know, Rab Nachman says regarded, you need a little bit of honor to exist in this world. Every person wants to be noticed. In a certain way. Even if I'm looking directly for honor, First of all, I want to be accepted somewhere. I gotta have one friend in the world. I gotta have one house in the world where I can walk in now, but something. It's gotta be something. You need a little bit of a place somewhere. So if I don't have it, I gotta pretend. And now listen to this. The more this pretending is, right? The more, then everything comes out of proportion. Because then my relationship to God is already all of this. It's not on a real level. Because imagine if I know I have $100, and I want God to have more, so I say God has $200, right? But if I have only a penny and I need $1,000, right? So I'm already on $999 already pretending. Then I say God has 2,000, right? And all the 2,000 is pretending, right? It's okay. Now listen to this. The less he says like this: Kol ma shehashleimus hapnimi yosech hasero kein hateva mechapers lishtalem l'sarkut. The less I have inside, the more I have to have from outside. Let's put it this way, on a very simple level. If a girl is not so beautiful, she has to put on more makeup. The less beautiful she is, the more makeup she does. Right? Or she does. There's a soul makeup also, putting all kinds of things in my soul, to look beautiful. So then, when I see somebody else, I look at them, and I think, you can't fool me, because I know it's all makeup, right? Because I'm living in a world of makeup, and I'm relating to God like God has also makeup. Okay? So, it's a big game, the whole thing. But if I'm real, I'm inside. Everything comes inside. He says something very beautiful. The person who's strong enough to bear if someone like insults you, if you're strong enough to bear it without blowing up, you're the kind of person who's also strong enough to receive it. Because you can bear yourself, you're strong enough to bear yourself. Most of us don't have strength to bear myself. I'm walking all four, I'm hanging on to something else, right? Because I can't walk on my own. So it's just like this, it's a person who gives me honor, and I know I don't deserve it. But then, I'm hiding it somewhere, maybe somebody I know. Do you understand? Because I know how to receive it, I'm receiving it inside now. Putting it somewhere a little safer, keeping it. But if I'm on that level that I can't bear myself, right? So everything is just outside, So if someone gives me a compliment, I don't know where to put it because I have no insight to put it. And if someone insults me, I can't put it anywhere either. Got to put it right there. This me, the woman has 100 pounds and she puts something on to reach to all it. Put it right back on, right? If someone gives me a little insult, it's very heavy, right? It becomes stronger. I carry it. If I can't carry it, I got to put it back. How to give it back to her? Insult her, right? Now this is very, very strong. Sometimes there are moments in our life when we mamish need someone to give us a good courage. It's very, very important. You know what a good friend is? A good friend is really somebody who knows the right moment to give you a good courage. Because COVID is two things. COVID is honor and also gives you a good courage. Very holy thing. If it's a holy COVID, right? It gives you holy courage. He says, Rav Kook says it's like drinking strong wine. If you drink too much, it gets you drunk, but if you know exactly how much you take, it makes you feel good. Same with this little bit of COVID. If you're drunk with COVID, you're drunk, right? But if someone gives you a bit of COVID, a little sip of wine, a little sip of it, and you drink it, but never lose touch with what COVID really is. That COVID is a very holy thing. write down the things completely, but a little bit. This is a very hard thing. A person is managed to work on himself, not to look for honor so much. This is very hard work, but it's a must, It's a must. The Gemara says like this: if you run away from honor, honor runs after you. If you run after honor, then how did I say? If you run away from honor, then honor runs after you. If you are looking for honor, then honor runs away from you. Did I make it right? You remember someone came to the Holy Pshishka and he said, "Listen, I'm running away from honor, and honor didn't reach me yet." He says, "Yeah, but you're always looking back,
I knew the story, but I didn't know what Pshishka was.
Now listen to this. Something very, very deep. Imagine if for everything I do, I'm looking just for honor. That means I'm not actually doing this thing, I'm just looking for the honor. It means I never do anything. Imagine each time I give a penny to a poor man, I'd like to be in the newspapers, And I'm holding the penny long enough till the photographer comes, Make sure that, Like I saw this cartoon, like someone was drowning in an ocean, on a river, and this photographer comes and he wants to take his picture. He says, "Please look desperate," So I want to have my picture taken with a poor man and say, "Brother, you better look desperate," But then I'm not doing anything, I never do anything. Now listen to this, very strong. Because it's a very terrible thing or a beautiful thing. We have this tremendous urge for COVID. We have it. Okay? We got to purify. So the thing is, a person has to realize that my whole life depends on it. Because if I won't get out of it, it's my whole life. I won't do anything. I just do it for the sake of honor. That means I'm never doing anything. And then I'm not bringing forth my soul. My soul really wants to do something. Not just for COVID. Really do something. I think it's very simple, If you don't like somebody so much and you do something for them, you really want them to know you did it. And you love somebody very much, they don't have to know you did it. You really want to do it for them. It depends how much you love what you do, how much you love God, how much you love people. But then it says you have to realize one thing, that this is not an outside job, this is a deep, deep inside job. And this is mamish, your whole life depends on it, on this purification. Something very, very strong, then we'll change the subject. It says, Eure shel Mashiach beref b'lev, u'melamed lechabed tzaviyas kula. When the light of the Mashiach, when the light of the great day is shining into your heart, and you feel the urge to honor every little creature. Because the Mashiach is coming, it says that the roots of the Messiah will be that to lift up the whole world, and his peace will be honored. It's a vow.
Shlomo, this is all really superb, But let me ask you this. This is very good, how you're supposed to feel about yourself and so on and so forth. But it doesn't tell you how to feel about, how you can get to feel that way about yourself, does it? In other words, the only one who can give covet is someone who really feels good about himself and, and he really wants to give someone the true kind. But if part of the problem is to erase a lot of the bad parts about ourselves, or
see, it says here long thing.
But, that's really where the problem is in many cases.
want something, like anything you want, you'll get.
Yeah.
But then the question is, what are all those little things all around that you want a little bit more than what you thought you were going? So like
say it again, start over again, what?
Yeah. So like the automobiles, a nice house, and all of the rest of the material world sometimes is a sacrifice to the spiritual attainment someone wants, even though the person really thinks they want it. And then when you throw off all of the veils and all the coverings, the real inside just eventually comes out, because it's only inside of us. It's not something you have to come to. It's something that's really inside already. So it just flows.
You know what it is? I'll tell you something very deep, which Chassidus talks about in a very strong way, What's the whole thing? It sits in the Miracle and the Spot. The truth is, the person every morning has to send a little spy into his heart to see what's going on. Gotta find out. How chozaku, am I strong, am I weak, am I good, am I bad, You can't just walk into the Holy Land like this. You gotta find out what's going on. You gotta be real. Only thing is, most people come back and they don't know what's going on inside. Or they make themselves too bad or too good. Either way it's bad. Be real. So tzitzis is, So Chassidus says that the whole thing of tzitzis is, every morning when I put them on, I'm just spying a little bit into my soul. You have to know one thing very strong. Everybody is ready, let's say for instance, everybody is ready to take a tractor and run right into my soul, right? Go to work. Well, what's going on there, First find out what's going on. Nobody wants to send a little spy into his own heart to see what's going on. First send a spy. The conquering is later. Come automatically if you know already what you have to do. And if your friends remember about the whole thing about the holy Rabbi Akiva with the watches, tell them. Alice, you remember?
That's the thing.
You don't take the machine.
Remember that? I don't know if you was at the morning session.
No. You remember the morning? Oh, you went in the morning around.
I really don't know it well.
You know what it is? Brother Bo. Listen, Brother Bo, was that the person? Brother Sweet called this morning?
I think it was him. I just talked with the operator.
Oh, but it was not the straight call. Was not the because when he calls for a few days now, like the student is right,
Yeah.
Let's forget everything. Call me, okay? Everything. Go to the stick. Brother. Brother Diva. He's having lunch with the English Queen today, I gotta realize it's a good question. No. Yeah?
It's okay, he's not going to be
Yeah.
What was Rabbi
Akiva? No, I just like this, that this is very sad because we don't know, we are good engineers, but we're not good engineers in our own souls, The thing is that Rabbi Akiva was like really unbelievable. Rabbi Akiva had 36 watches, big clocks hanging in the synagogue, And each clock was on a different time. Where? Yeah. And every morning, Mama, she would stand there sometimes for hours and turn the clock. And you would Mama see that he's Mama. Do you know both of the story? Not so much. Yeah? As the son of the Yipet Kodesh of Yachmiel. And he would be Mamish like you could see Mamish, she's the master of time. Turning clocks. And the thing is, when he was Mamish turning the clock, Mamish, she could see Mamish turning over heaven and earth, It's dangerous. I mean not dangerous in a bad way, in a holy way, The story is that his brother, Rabbi Yehuda, was not his host, he was the host of the Vishnu. And as much as he knew how holy his brother is, he was talking to somebody to get him away from his brother, take him to the Vishnu. So one time they were sitting in the forest and they were talking about his brother. And Rabbi Yehuda said, I think you should still come to the Vishnu. So the Chositul wanted to say something about Rabbi Akiva. He said, don't say anything now, because my brother's just turning the clocks now, and he's turning over heaven and earth, God forbid him. Okay. But Rabbi was like this, when someone would come and say, he was making money from fixing watches. So if someone would come to him and say, little watcher, let's say Nechoma comes to the watcher, he says, hey Nechoma, let's sit down. Okay, Nechoma sits down and he would, take the watch out and take every little thing apart. And Mamish, while he's taking everything apart, putting every little part of your soul on the table. Look at everything, and then he would Mamish fix it. And he wouldn't say anything sometimes, just put the watch together and fix it, and he would Mamish walk away and fix it. But there's this famous story that this Yidal, everything was right with him, but something was wrong. He couldn't put his finger on it. Didn't know what it was. So anyway, and his watch was broken also, so he came to Rabbi Akiva, and he, but it fixed how what you saw. Yeah. So he came to Rabbi Akiva, and he took the whole watch apart, and then, inside is one little wheel. So he put everything apart. He says, you see, everything is okay, but inside. So when he said this, the Judah looked fainted, because he mamish tore out his inside, So anyway, you see, we don't know how to put ourselves on the table and put ourselves together again. We never fix it. We become a little better here, a little better here. Imagine if a woman wants to clean the house, so she goes systematic. She doesn't go, now I'm dusting here, then I'm running over there, then I'm the window here, then I'm running up there, window, You have a little bit of a system, right? Well, that's what that's what you do.
Well, how do you do? No, you're talking about her maid.
Oh, don't talk about my holy Odessa. Brother. She might be fixing the watches now, and you can talk about
more pin cushions, though.
Yeah. One more thing, Rav Kook, this is unbelievable deep. The people who have this tmimis, wholeness, tmimis means simplicity, In Hebrew, simplicity doesn't mean simple. Stupid means simple, made out of one piece. There's oneness in them, there's completeness. When you give them honor, it just flows so simply, because they're one piece. If there are three pieces, and most of them there's always space in between, so the cover just runs over, runs in, and you don't know where it's getting, So it's just like this. This holy completeness, if you have this holy completeness, and first of all, you're not looking for honor because you're complete. Because most people looking for honor so desperately because they are incomplete, right? And they think that this outside cover, this outside honor will make them complete. Which doesn't, just tears me down because I'm not complete to receive it, But if I have this holy completeness, then the holy honor which flows into me makes me more humble, more real, and even more simple, and even more one. Yeah. So what else? What do you want to learn now? Learn a little bit from here? It's good stuff, yeah? Tough or good? Couldn't have made a golden calf, right? I don't know, something like that. I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong with one.
About how Diego was looking down at Hashem in the earth.
Yeah?
I was talking in the last lecture about Alice,
Yeah?
how Alice is the holiest day. So, like, the fallen Red Heifer and the shore lake,
Yeah?
all of the opposites.
For more completeness in a complete way, then everything is inside. Like Baal Shem Tov thought is nothing, right? The Rebbe thought is nothing, but in such a complete way, everything is complete. In a broken way, you know? In broken completeness. Complete brokenness. You know? Or something like that, you know? Yeah, I don't know either. Very strong question. Okay, this is very, very important. Some of us really, we fail in that respect. Most of us think, you know, we only do one of the things when we feel like it, you know? Okay, we should feel like it, but if your service on God depends on what mood you are that morning, I mean, how the coffee tasted that morning or how the bagel was, that's a very poor service of God. You see, we always think that everything has to taste good. And how good does it taste when we are waiting for the taste? Why don't you let the taste be a gift from God then? Gift is always like a little gift from God. You just do your thing. God will give you a taste. If I don't put on film only one morning I wake up, mamish, I gotta talk to God way out, and I'm putting on my film, putting on my talis. It's very sweet. But it's not real. It's not service. It's just a trip, right? It's a little, doing my thing. The servant is somebody who has, the relationship between me and God is as a servant and also as a son. The difference between a son and a servant is the servant eats in the kitchen, the son eats on the table, right? When you eat with the king at the same table, you get all the things the king eats. You eat also. And there's the Medrash, it's even more beautiful. The Medrash says that the son says to the father, not only I want to eat from your plate, I want to eat out of your mouth. That means the king takes it first in his mouth, then he gives it to his baby. Mama, she wants to be so close. So what we say to God, that we, mamish, but first you gotta work your way up. You gotta do it. And also something very strong, Mamish takes a lot of praying, Mamish asking God, please let me feel what I'm doing. If I wait, I only do it when I feel like it, This Shabbat I don't feel like having Shabbat. Besides, I gotta go to the golf play and gotta go to the beauty parlor because she's closed on Monday because it's great. Because it's July 4th, So this Shabbat I don't feel like, and God understands. So then I'll keep next Shabbat. You know what that means? It's not that you didn't keep this Shabbat. That means that shows all the Shabbats that you always kept is also nothing, right? Mamish, a person has mamish to cry before God, please open the gates for me, the gates of service. You see, a person has to ask God, each time I do something good, open another gate. It's not enough to do something good. You have to know something very, very strong. Each time I do something, I'm open a gate. Each time I learn another word, I'm opening another gate. But then I got to go in. And going into the gate is only the servants, So it's very strong. And even the service elevated, got to be a servant. Got to be a servant. You go in there and you just get it. Then he says something very, very deep. Imagine, we always think if we do it every day, in a habit way, it's best to do it in a habit way, but it's also something very deep. There, we were learning it in Miami a little bit about being carved in, certain things which are so deeply carved into me, I can't do without it. If we either can walk up in the morning without putting on film, that means that film hasn't carved in yet. It's still an outside. You see, if you can pass by a poor man and not give him something, that means Stoker hasn't been carved in. Giving charity hasn't carved in. God has to be automatically. On a certain level, everything has to be so deep, can't do otherwise. My bones have to know about it. The Gemara says, and at a certain point in the prayers, you have mamash to bow down. So Rabbi says, I'll always be grateful to my spine who knows when to bow down. That means his spine, not only his mind was praying, his spine was praying, his spine knew now I have to bow down. That's real. Doesn't mean that he wasn't concentrating. When the Rabbi was bowing down, he was mamash bowing down, But his spine also knew, He didn't have to tell, hey, Mr. Spine, let's go, Now something very strong. Imagine I would say to someone, I want to taste the apple before I eat it. It doesn't go this way, right? You eat the apple, then you taste it. Do you want to have a taste of Shabbos before I eat it? How can it just doesn't go. I want to have a taste of Yiddishkeit before I eat it. It just doesn't go. You've got to eat it. How do I eat it? I'm going to eat it. And maybe it's like beer. You remember the story? Any of you kids? Any of you kids remember the story about Ramanda Lavuka and the beer? The story is, it's a very short story, that the holy, you remember the holy